Yeah, I'll talk about two fights today. So one of the title fights on the card, Carlos Adames versus Hamzah Sheeraz. Really looking forward to this one, as I am for all the fights. But, Hamzah Sheeraz especially, one of my favourite fighters right now. He really is a phenomenal talent in the ring. Sets you up with the jab. He's really tall. He can, lure you under those huge straight right hands of his. If you overcommit, he's got hooks. He's got uppercuts on the inside. He really is, such a massive talent. What makes him possibly so exciting in the ring as well is that he's so young. He's definitely not the finished article either. He looked very uncomfortable against Bradley Skeet all those years ago. He took a few big shots early off Ammo Williams in their fight recently as well. But, like I said, at only 25 years of age, he's consistently improving with every fight. And, just going back to his previous fight, the manner in which he dealt with Tyler Denny, a guy who had just come off a career best win prior to that against Felix Cash, just super impressive the way he went about his business. Nothing flash about the win, no particular wow factor. But just consistently walked Denny down in that one, baited him onto hard counter shots. Such an intelligent fighter as well at only 25. And I do see a similar thing happening this weekend against Carlos Adames. Adames looked deflated in the second half of his fight against Patrick Teixeira all those years ago, his only loss to date. And even in more recent fights against Julian J-Rock Williams, for example, who is, arguably well past his best at this point. Williams was giving Adames fits with his movement and jab early in their fight. So, for me, Adames is the champion in fairness. He's a strong puncher as well. He can crack, but he does tend to throw those heavy punches of his on a bit of a loop. Often likes to come in around an opponent's high guard with those wing and hooks of his. And that's a very dangerous proposition for him this weekend against Sheeraz. Sheeraz is likely going to bait him in with that high guard. Adames is looking to come in over the top, throw hooks around the guard, so to speak. And then that gives Sheeraz the opportunity to come right back down the pipe, hit him with straight rights, uppercuts on the inside, look to close the show. So for me, I already bet Sheeraz at the opener minus 225. It is a high line, obviously, but it's since been steamed even higher. Line currently sitting at minus 260 right now. But whichever way you play this one, whether you up to take Sheeraz by KO plus 120, he's coming to this one of 15 straight stoppages. Whether you look to throw Sheeraz into a parlay, take him on the money line, whatever you happen to choose, I think you have to take Hamzah Sheeraz to become the new champion this weekend against Carlos Adames.
WBC belt. A lot of people think Carlos Adames is the weakest of the champions here, and so Sheeraz, to you, he's ready for this moment. He's ready to take him down.
I believe so, Joe. Yes, I believe so.
Love it. All right, guys, that's fight number 1 coming up here this weekend. Make sure you guys jump in on that one. Break down another one for us, Kev, on the card here. Huge card on DAZN as well.
Yeah, massive card. And I'll go straight for the big one, Joe. Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol 2. Phenomenal fight first time around between these two, obviously. I actually had a 5% play up on Dmitry Bivol to win that first fight. And if I'm being honest, especially at the first time reviewing, I thought I got a little bit robbed. I thought he did enough to edge that fight. Although, since rewatching the fight, I had to second guess myself somewhat. I thought Beterbiev, I should say, did a little bit better than I thought the first time. Yourself, you have a 5% play, sometimes your view can be skewed by having that play on it. But phenomenally close fight, no matter which way you scored it. But in terms of the rematch, the one thing you're always going to get from Dmitry Bivol is 100% consistency. Same with Beterbiev as well. He never really has an off night in the ring. Bivol's style is so fundamental. Soviet, Central Asian, Eastern European, however you want to frame it in terms of that particular distinct style is so well drilled into fighters, especially the importance of footwork in the ring, that even when a guy like Bivol does put on a display that, from the outside seems a little underwhelming, Lyndon Arthur, Craig's Richard comes to mind, for example, that's still Bivol at 100% just in second gear. So, Bivol is one of those fighters that we know what we're going to get from him this weekend. And going back and revisiting that first fight again, to me, basically did everything he could do to win, in my opinion. Bivol fought as near to pitch perfect as is possible for him. His range was excellent. He was having success in throwing those limited combinations of Beterbiev as well. So I really don't see all that much Bivol can effectively improve upon for this rematch. Contrast that over to Beterbiev, however, and for me, there are definitely some things he can work on ahead of this one. We saw in that first fight, for example, that Beterbiev had a tendency to load up on those short hooks inside. That's been a money punch for him across his career so far. But in all honesty, those, short hooks, they were never really going to work out against the guy as defensively elite as Bivol is. Bivol's blocking most of those hooks inside with his high guard. And Beterbiev struggled to connect, I should say, with any kind of regularity early in that fight. He caught Bivol with just one power punch across the opening 2 rounds, 23 power punches combined across the first half of the fight. And those were numbers he eclipsed completely in the final 2 rounds alone. Beterbiev landed 29 power punches on Bivol across rounds 11 and 12. So like I said, compare that with just one he landed across the first 2 rounds. And the difference becomes apparent in terms of how Beterbiev, adjusted in that fight. So I think it's fair to say we know what version of Bivol we're going to get once again here on Saturday. He is an elite fighter, no question, obviously. But like I said, he fought as well as he could do, in my opinion, and still lost. I just don't see all that much he can improve upon going into this fight. While for Beterbiev, I personally felt he adjusted pretty well as the first fight wore on, started to mix it up a lot more. And if you can implement those changes, those adjustments much earlier this time around, I do think Beterbiev repeats the win. So again, this is a fight I've already bet. I took Beterbiev at minus 120. Line hasn't moved all that much, floating around minus 130 right now. That's to be expected. It is a razor close fight. But Artur Beterbiev for me to repeat this weekend against Dmitry Bivol.
All right, looking forward to it. Two big, a huge slate actually in the ring here this weekend, but two that you've got right now, and much more over at your page at wagertalk.com. I mean, in addition to boxing there, Kev, plenty of Champions League soccer going on right now, NBA, college. What do you got going on right now at Wager Talk?
We got a triple pack up for this boxing card as well. Outside the 2 fights we've already discussed. 61 and 35 run on best bet moneyline sides in soccer. Soccer has been phenomenal. And I would like to see as well with MLB coming up. I'm not sure, Joe, that anyone else can match this. But, you fact check me on this. But I'm on a 34 and 8 run in MLB sides. 34 and 8 plus 105.86 units. So, really excited, obviously, for baseball coming back as well. And, with everything going on right now, boxing, even Six Nations rugby. Let's not forget about rugby, like the arts, one of those sports that gets paid. Great time to jump on board.